Were we just talking about pandas?
Yeah, pandas and how violent they are. Try to tell me they're all snuggly and stuff. Yeah, that was not snuggly at all.
Panda just gave her a headbutt.
Hola, amigos, and welcome to the Markout Mania.
Yeah! Woo!
I'm Pedro Boyquedro, aka Texas Spaniard, and with us is the extreme James Sorno. Jim House, how are you?
Woo! I am good, my friend. A little beat up, but I am ready to rock and roll. The countdown has officially begun, but let's do it, baby!
And we also we got the pop
Damn.
top. The God of Thunder and Cerveza. Big Dark.
Just got a new nickname in the pre-show.
What's up, beer?
What's up, beer?
What's up, beer?
What's up, dog? What's up, beer? Oh, what dogs?
Zeus King Dog, the Road Warrior Scholar, the graduate. Holla.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, sorry, my voice is a little in rough shape at the moment.
Pedro doing the concert thing again.
Yeah.
Remember you sketched
Chicago. She was in
Chicago.
fake Chicago last
I was
night.
in Fake Chicago.
Using the USC Pavilion?
Who knows where the actual venue was?
Who's hanging out with CM Punk's crew?
It was in an empty Walmart because they
Empty
moved.
Walmart. That's hot. That's hot.
Just
He did a duet with a shoe rack. Cool.
yeah.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Oh man. What's up, Pedro? You all right? Your voice is really gone, huh?
Well, I had a really rough week, and
Yeah, tired.
Gonna keep going. I'll tell you all after the show, but yeah,
He's hollering last night too, James. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
He's going in hard on some of these songs, man.
Really?
yeah, I am. That's true. I did do some Buddy Guy, so yeah, there was some like blues hollering going on.
Like they're calling the cops in Huntsville and discovering peace charges against Pedro and
sometimes we have these neighbors across the street. They'll like blast their music like really loud and all kind of hours of the night. Sometimes they do it on Friday nights into Saturday mornings, and we wonder if it's because of all the noise I'm making. Who knows?
probably.
What's going on? What's going on? What's happening?
Nothing. Is everybody excited to see Kota Ibushi back in the wrestling ring? No?
I mean, well, he has wrestled like once or twice this year before this point. So
No, but Pedro, that doesn't count because he's going to be on AEW. Don't you know that?
okay, yeah, I know. I know, but I mean, yeah, my big questions with Kota Ibushi is one, are we getting is he going full like DDT era Kota Ibushi where he does the stupidest shit possible, or two, is he still injured? Because I got the feeling from the few appearances he did earlier this year, he is not recovered yet. Like,
I mean, I would like to assume. I mean, I would like to assume that like he would actually like he would absolutely be protected in that AEW ring. But it's AEW, so I don't know.
What are you talking about? Maybe with those new rules they just dropped.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I mean,
Oh, that's a whole conversation we should have too about those rules.
Yeah.
But what do you? I don't know what to expect out of the Kota Ibushi thing. Everyone who comes to AEW is the worst version of themselves possible. So it'll be the worst version of Kota Ibushi. And also, I suspect, just from the appearances he had earlier this year, I suspect he is not recovered. Like I suspect he may never be 100% again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what exactly happened to him to leave him in such a bad state, but he seems to be in a bad.
Well, let's drop him on his head a few more times. Let's see if it really,
But it was something with his shoulder or arm, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, what are y'all expecting out of him in AEW?
I'm not. I mean, it's always nice to see Kota Ibushi, but I mean, if you're not 100%, unless that's it. Don't do it. Don't force it. I mean, I'm sure Cocaine Khan is throwing a shitload of money at him. But I mean, I'd rather have him safe than sorry. But then again, I mean, but and again, you got a 6-year-old diving on the table, so
I think it's so hard to tell anything. We know it's not like Major League Pro Sports where people are transparent with what their injuries are. Because the thing with
still waiting for Aaron Judge to come back.
With wrestling is for most of the wrestlers in the world, if you're not working, you're not making money, and you probably, and a lot of these guys, some of them have a second job, but I don't know how many. Some people sell some merch, but I mean, honestly, nobody's really killing it in merch right now. I mean, not. I think probably Danhausen was the last person that kind of had like viral merch, and that's cooled off because he hasn't been able to make appearances and wrestle and be featured and things. So
it's weird, Zeus. He was more marketable pre-AEW than in AEW.
Yeah, because he just kind of, before they could showcase him and he had time, but now he's in a place where it's overcrowded and
I'll never understand that whole Danhausen phenomenon.
I mean, we said this before. Stephanie, there was a period of time Stephanie was way into Danhausen.
Right.
It was just the YouTube videos. She didn't care.
What is he, 5'9", $125? I mean, that guy gets destroyed.
No, he's like 5'7". He's tiny.
Yeah, he's tiny, but like she didn't care about the wrestling stuff at all. All she cared about was the YouTube videos. And then when he joined AEW, his YouTube videos changed, and then she stopped. She didn't care anymore. She didn't like his content anymore, and that ended like her interest in Danhausen. But he should have been. I think we said this before in the past. He should have been like instead of in wrestling, he should have gotten into like hosting like horror movies or something on TV.
Yeah.
Like a Sven Gulli kind of thing.
Well, I just hope, I mean, it's like Zeus said, if you're not, unless you're in the top percent, I don't think you're making money if you're hurt.
Right. So, and it just kind of goes back to like, the revenue for wrestlers.
Right.
They have so many reasons to lie about, how well they're doing or not doing, and just, or to be secretive, and the fact that, people keep going back and saying, okay, well, we just go, well, why are these people doing this? And we don't know exactly what the extent of their injuries. I think that's one of the things I've thought about so much, talking with you guys, is when we go, okay, well, this is what we don't know. And, because so many people, we have so many people we think are experts that say they hear something from somebody else. It's not like I said, it's not like pro sports leagues where they take somebody to a hospital, to a reputable doctor, to a specialist, and say, okay, you've got a hairline fracture in your tibia. You're going to be fine. You just need to take it easy for about 4 weeks, or you've got like, your C5 and your C4 vertebra have switched places. You should probably never do this again. We don't know any of what's said, and it's not like the wrestling promotions are are beholden to any doctor's diagnosis. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, okay, well, you're scheduled to work tomorrow. All right, well, I'll show up. Well, you know, meanwhile, you know, dude's in pain, you know, but he needs to provide for his family or whatever. It's just, you know.
You would think nowadays there's a way to keep a person on TV so this way he can earn his money even while he's hurt, and you know, like he doesn't have to jeopardize his health in the ring. You know, I mean, you know, you can cut promos, there's backstage segments, etc. But you know, these guys want to get back into the ring and do their thing. I mean, even when they're really hurting, and you know, like a lot of these guys, and you know, not for nothing, are, you know, they're not getting any younger.
Right.
You know, I mean, all they gotta do. I mean, let's face it. How old is Kota Ibushi? He's not a young man anymore.
He's over 40.
Right. Not for the stuff he wants to be doing in the ring. I mean, come on.
I mean,
you know,
the thing we always said with him was he looks so much younger than he is.
Yeah. What? A man looks like he's 14. You know, like they were muscles. But it's you know, it's. I just think it's dangerous, you know. I'm sorry.
No, that's all true. I mean, it's true, but
as much as I'd like to see him, I don't want to see him get hurt. I mean, you know, it's bad enough we got a 60-year-old man who's painting his face and diving on the tables. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as we all love Sting, don't ruin your legacy. Don't get hurt at this age. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I saw him live dive off a fucking balcony.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, once again, we just there's just so much we just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, what?
Oh, I said for a moment, it sounded like Zeus said there's so much weed we just don't know. I was like, what?
Beer here.
Beer.
So, you know, I just, I don't know, you know.
Yeah. So next. So, do we want to bring up while we're talking about injuries? Do we want to bring up the AEW band list?
Yeah.
That's a good segue.
Yeah.
Not their band list, not their list of their favorite bands.
Moves top of the list. Top of the list. I heard is Pedro. No, I'm joking. Yeah.
Top of the list has got to be Jim Cornette.
That's
well, you mean of the band BAND list? Oh,
yeah.
Pedro Boyd's definitely banned.
Yeah. But yeah,
this guy don't do nothing but poop on us every day.
Before we bring up the list, what prompted them to make this list in the first place?
Has to be the Warner Brothers, don't you think?
Yeah,
because that's part of the new deal.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is the talks is they might be on Max, on the streaming service in the near future, right? And so this is my hype. This is my theory. This is not based on any reality. Okay, this is just based on rumors and stuff that, as Zeus was pointing out, we don't know what's real, what's not real. Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But from the things that we're hearing, the smoke and this, sounds like if Warner Brothers via Max and stuff is going to go all in with them like further, they're maybe like, okay, now you're going to have to make the product more like we're going to put it on the streaming service where even more people are going to be able to watch it. It's got to be, you know, it's got to tone down is what I'm thinking.
Gotcha.
Also, wouldn't they be more liable for like stuff if people are getting injured?
Well, I mean, I guess Moxley was going to be out of a job soon then because if you can't blade anybody, brutal. Yeah.
Shoot, at this point,
apparently there's protocols for accidental bleeding as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So what's the band list? Well, what moves are banned?
You have it pulled up, Pedro?
Oh no, I'll find it. Hold on, somewhere.
And then there's other moves that have to be cleared. I believe the Tombstone is one of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear. It wasn't one of the things they're trying to get the people to like stop doing so many of the same moves every thing, or I think that was one of the things. Man, I cannot.
Well, you mean they're going to put a limit on the amount of Canadian destroyers they can do in one event?
Where is this fucking thing?
Only 5 a night.
Well, that would be just one Young Bucks match.
There you go. The Bucks. I can't stand them. Isn't Ibushi tagging with the Bucks?
They kind of said he was, going to be tagging with Kenny. So,
Oh,
by proxy, he'll be part of that group again.
How's it I cannot find this now? This is wild.
It's all right, Peter. Don't worry about it. But they're taking steps to protect their wrestlers, which is good. But it's sad in a way that it takes an outside entity to do it for to actually force them into doing it.
He just gave us an easy way to find this one.
Well, it has to do with perception and and being a part of a network. It's not if they were just streaming on their own and they weren't beholden to somebody else, but they are now. So that's that's kind of the.
I think I found it. Let's see. Spots and let's see. Specifically, a document was sent out that outright banned unprotected chair shots to the head, shots to the back of the head, buckle bombs, and blind moves backwards into the turnbuckle, fencing responses, which seems unnatural position of arms following a concussion, seizure cells, spitting, bleeding in the crowd, weapons or projectiles into the crowd, taking drinks or food from guests in the crowd, or physical contact with the crowd. We're told that nothing with blood on it should be thrown into the crowd. Then it says, let's see. Following, here are some moves that are expected to be, I think maybe you have to get approved or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I believe that's the...
Spots and bumps on the ring apron and outside. Table, ladder, chair spots in and out of the ring. Only allowed with padding. Any elevated spots outside of the barricades, dives and ladder spots on stage around the arena and other places outside of the ring. All pile driver, tombstone variations, including sit-down pile drivers, inverted poison, hurricane run, and inverter breakers. High-risk dives or top rope moves, 450, 630, double moonsaults, SSP, etc. Intentional bleeding of any sort, not just blading. Throwing people into, through, over ring steps, commentary table, bell table, or guardrails, barricades, weapon usage, chairs, pipes, kendo sticks, hammers, ring bells, bats, chains, title belts, thumbtacks, skewers, barbed wire, and other sharp puncturing objects, powders, aerosols, sprays, liquids, throwing any weapons or objects, chairs, choking, strangling with hands or weapons, or hanging spots, injury spots or angles, whether or not medical is involved, called to the ring. Any physicality in the crowd or crowd brawling. Any physicality involving referees, managers, extras, celebrities, or special guests.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Does that sound about right? Or
yeah, that sounds like what I read. So it's, that, I was, and like we said, we saw a lot of people, I'm bummed out, Yeah. And I'm like, well, this is what happens when you're, when you're in the big time.
Do you think that's going to hurt them?
I think some of their fans are going to are going to complain a bit, and then it might. It's, we joke all the time, and it's not just us, but everybody talks about how, how Moxley, he blades at the drop of a hat. So
yeah, he bladed the ref that one day too.
He's going to have to.
Do y'all remember when that pay-per-view where MJF went into the crowd and he took the lady's tequila and threw it in her son's face, and she didn't say anything, she didn't interact with him, he just did it of his own, free will, right? He just
Right.
he targeted them for whatever reason. They hadn't said anything, hadn't, they did nothing towards him, right? To spark this incident. And he just did that on his own. So stuff like that being curbed is a good deal, in my opinion, because that was real bad precedent. And I know a lot of AEW fans were like, "Oh, that's gonna make him a fan for life. That's gonna be great." It was a great time. AEW gave him all these things. They compensated him for this and this. It was like that was a really dumb move. Like,
yeah, for 2023, that was really dumb.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, that was way, way dumb. But
I mean, he shouldn't have done that. I mean,
what I'm kind of getting from this, if you have to have approval from TK or whomever to do these things, so what's going to happen when certain people, because a lot of those moves and stuff, like, they're talking the reverse Hurricane Rana and stuff. Who do we see take these moves and do these bumps a lot? It's Omega,
Kenny,
it's
yeah.
the Bucks.
Yeah.
So when they get to still do these things and others are not able to do these things, what is how do you think that could change the atmosphere and backstage?
you might have another locker room. You might have another incident in the locker room now. You might have it as just the whole entirely different situation in the locker room.
I could just see where some people will continue to get sort of carte blanche, and then the others will be like held to things.
Well, we're like high school. How come Kenny gets to do it, but I can't?
Yeah, and then everybody's going to pass it off. Well, he's the main eventer. He's the top guy. They gotta hold a bag for him, and blah blah.
He's
blah.
one of the founding fathers of the company. Blah blah blah.
But
I don't know.
Although I think it's good if some people get to do stuff and others don't, because too many people do the exact same thing up and down the card, every card.
Well, it's like when WWE banned the Tombstone stuff for Undertaker and Kane. There were only two allowed to use it. Because everybody started using it, and they were doing different variations of it.
Oh yeah, I mean that's we've looked at that issue. People doing so many moves. It's just like I said before. It's kind of that the creator wrestler problem. People play video games. They go, okay, I'm gonna make my wrestler to be able to do all these super moves. Yeah. And then they get to be 12, 13, 14, 15 years old and go, okay, I want to be a wrestler and I want to do all these super moves,
Right. Yeah.
So.
And see Okada coming to WWE. You can't use your spinning tombstone. What?
Probably. Yeah. Just like, I mean, now that like Ospreay won't be able to use the hidden blade.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Right. That's right.
And that's, it's a big signature for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of interesting with all this stuff. There was some with Omega commented on people were criticizing some spot from his match with Ospreay. And
it was that Tiger Driver.
Yeah, and he was telling people that to shut the fuck up, that they're not even close to being qualified to talk about it. And
I mean, that's typical, of people.
Omega and the Elite are just very fragile in terms of when it comes to criticism and stuff. They're very defensive. Very defensive.
Well, they always have been. I mean,
yeah.
The Bucks, the Bucks get called short and they leave Twitter for 3 months.
I know when the Bucks were getting shit when they were in Japan. Everybody was giving them shit back then. Then they came back home and they were getting shit, and they've always gotten shit. Yeah, but you're absolutely right. It's that they're very thin-skinned, very thin-skinned. So.
Yeah. Although G1 started, right?
I was going to say we can move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has everybody seen the Adrian Adonis?
Yes, I did see
Yes.
that.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, we can talk about that.
Yes.
So
I like when they were interviewing Bret Hart.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Side of the Ring. They had, the Adrian Adonis episode, and I remember I couldn't stand him. When I first saw him in the probably like 83 or 84 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And even as the biker guy, I didn't like him. So he was great at making me hate him. But I didn't pay attention to like how good he was, because he was just so good at pushing my buttons and making,
Yeah.
He was so good as a heel that, I didn't notice that, all these, things that,
he did his job.
Praised by Bret Hart and whatnot. So I'm not gonna lie and say I always appreciated him or not, because I always hated him. So, if I when I was watching him on TV, I was always hoping he'd get his ass kicked. So,
I agree with you. I didn't appreciate him until later, like much later down the road. You know what I mean? Like when I was rewatching stuff, then it was like, oh, this guy, like, it's like, well, this guy was really good.
No, they say he made his bones originally because of the way he took bumps. Then they realized that he was like a legit tough guy, because he took bumps like badass. I mean, like he would take the bumps and he would sell it perfectly.
Yeah, and I think it's just, he was really good at the personality thing, the attitude. I think everything just kind of built it together. He was just that kind of guy. And then once again with these pieces by Vice, they do like to really highlight the drug problems,
Yeah.
They love the drugs. Yeah.
And I really think that I really don't know if that really serves anybody, except for them trying to make all these wrestlers look like it's like, well, they were a drug addict first, and then they were a human being and a pro wrestler, second and third.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little tired of some of that.
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about that next episode.
What's the next one?
Abdullah the Butcher. It's going to be totally different.
Hepatitis time.
It'd be interesting to see what they do with him.
But
what they've done with him.
I was hoping to get more to Adrian Adonis, the person. I mean, they interviewed his wife and stuff like that. But like it would have been nice to hear from people like Jesse Ventura and stuff like that, because they partnered with him.
They're not going to get Jesse Ventura on that show.
I mean, I don't see why not, because the man loves to hear his own voice. So, I thought he would love to go in there and just spew.
The thing about Adrian Adonis is he didn't listen to me enough.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've always said it. I thought Adrian Adonis was an amazing wrestler. I mean, and the man could move, especially when he put on all that weight, and he still could move. But, 350 pounds, he'd be blown up in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then that took away his one big quality was the sell stuff and moving around the ring, because he couldn't do it anymore because he was 250 pounds.
And when you look at that, we've seen so many wrestlers that they've, a certain point happens and they get heavy, right?
Yeah.
We've seen it happen
Keith
over
Lee.
and over.
Keith Lee.
Mhm.
Yeah, and but here's the thing is like, especially for wrestlers from the 70s and the 80s, they were getting hurt and they were just doing whatever they had to do to get to the next night.
Yeah.
They weren't getting surgery. They weren't really addressing the problems, but it still affected them. So like, it was harder for him to stay thin. He still was, used to eating well and, eating a lot. And it just, it's just that downhill spiral you see. And, of course,
I mean, there were a lot of wrestlers like that. Remember when Ahmed Johnson got fired from WWF and then he showed up on WCW 60 pounds overweight? And he looked atrocious,
Yeah, I mean, it's just, once again, we've learned so many things about, how, what not to do.
Yeah.
It's just like this is just like one of those things that we see that happens. In wrestling. So
when people talk about the what could have been in wrestling, we hear a lot about Magnum TA and this and that person. You don't really hear too much about Ahmed Johnson, but there is a point in time when he hit the scene in the WWF and he had that IC title run and all that stuff. He seemed like he looked like such a badass, like such a ass kicker.
Well, he was getting a huge push too, Pedro. He got a huge push.
And then it just went.
It went south. It went south. He became Jobber to the Stars. He left, and then he showed up at WCW 60 pounds overweight, and he couldn't move.
I barely remember him even in WCW.
Yeah, Zeus. Remember when he couldn't move? He started hurting people. Yeah, because he was trying to get him the power bomb, but he was too fat to fucking move.
Yeah, I just don't really remember him in there because he just. It was just.
What they call him, Big T? Well,
Maybe.
yeah,
Big T.
Yeah.
Because he was just, that was so, what, 99 or 1,000, 2,000, I mean?
I think it was somewhere around there, yeah.
Because I wasn't watching a lot of it at that point.
Right.
And maybe even that, that 2000, the early 2001 stuff. I remember I would flip to it, and I was probably looking to see stuff like, any of the luchadors, cruiserweights. Lance Storm probably had some of my most favorite stuff in that Russo area, Russo era.
No, Russo was tough to watch. Let me tell you.
Yeah, what they did with Mike Awesome was terrible. And
the fat chick Thriller, that was disgusting. Yeah. That was horrible. I actually sat through and watched David Arquette win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
I mean, that sucked.
Well, you know what? People bring up that. You know what was worse than that? Vince Russo won the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah. And then did the other writer ever win anything, or did he just?
Ed Ferrara? No, he got ostracized after he did the whole Oklahoma bit.
Yeah.
Remember when he started making fun of Jim Ross's palsy?
Yeah, that was really
he got ostracized. Yeah. And then he got ostracized after that, and they stripped him down to his underwear and in the ring, and he got covered with honey or some shit. After that, he just disappeared. Yeah, he was ostracized.
Well, he should have never. Him and Russo never should have been on TV in the first damn place.
No. Yeah. Why would you think fucking making fun of Jim Ross's belt? Who, like him or not, he's a legend in this business. Why would you make why would you do that? Why would you leave the booking room and go, yeah, that's a good idea?
I mean, it was really obvious that, that their roles in WWE's success, was due in large part to the people they were working with.
Yeah.
To be able to pull off however
and
much.
you had Vince McMahon who would say yes or no.
Well, but I mean, even still, I mean, it's like they had the right kind of performers to do that stuff,
Right.
and historically WCW wasn't that kind of place.
Mm-hmm.
But
No, yeah, you're right. You're right. But yeah, that was just horrible. That was a horrible time. Horrible time for WCW. I was so disappointed.
But
I was like, what happened to this company?
So horrible they closed.
Yeah, so horrible they closed.
And once
Doesn't
again,
get worse than that.
like if anybody should be, maybe that's the lesson learned. That that's what kind of Tony Khan's looking at. It's like if I get dumped off this major network, that's got, it's not just TBS and TNT anymore. Like you're saying, it's part of Showtime. It's part of this. It's part of that. Discovery, all that stuff.
Yeah.
If they just say, okay, well you're dead, you're gone. Now you're stuck on trying to figure out where you're going to get on next.
Right. Oh yeah, then it becomes like the TNA Impact journey.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even WCW tried to find other people to invest and get them onto another network. They were all trying.
They couldn't do it. Out. Yeah. I totally agree with you, Zeus. That this is this is not some like. This isn't back in the day. This is a major media conglomerate. You got to play your cards right. You know?
So, but we kind of off topic is. I enjoyed the Adrian Adonis episode.
Oh yeah, I thought it was good. You tell that his wife really loved him.
Yeah,
I like how they interviewed Bret Hart. He was like, "I was just a little kid, and they introduced me to cocaine." I was like, "Sure, I'm doing it with the Iron Sheik." I started laughing.
You know who I thought was great on there was the survivor of that car accident, the Kelly brother.
Yeah.
Mike Kelly.
You actually felt for him.
Yeah,
he
definitely. He lost his twin.
Yeah. And how about the story about the ring crew who actually robbed they took the jewelry and the money out of the guy's pockets.
Yeah.
That's some shit, man.
I'd heard about that before.
That's some 2023 shit.
Yeah.
What about the Dan Spivey?
I actually like that. Like that. He was like, hey, listen, I had to show him I wasn't a pussy. I was like, holy shit, because remember the clip they showed of Adrian Adonis kicking him in the head? He kicked the shit out of him. And they were saying that. Yeah. They were saying now. Here's the part that I don't understand. They're saying that Adonis was like that only because he was high on coke. I'm going to disagree. I thought Adonis was always like that. I thought he just got in the ring and beat the shit out of you just because he could do it.
James, two things can be correct here. He could have always been on coke, and he could have always been like that.
Yeah, and sometimes just sometimes a guy rubs you the wrong way, and Spivey is a big tall dude, and there was some hype around him back then too because he was so tall, and but it's really obvious, like that. Remember that dude that tried to go into business for himself against the skyscrapers?
Oh my God! Yeah,
and then he got his ass beat, and it's like
bad too.
And I mean,
it's like you learn nothing from the history of wrestling, where about Spivey being a tough guy.
Adonis. I was just gonna say, like, Dan Spivey was younger, he was bigger, and
Yeah.
Adonis was out of shape. He was putting on a lot of weight. This was, it's not it's like Adonis was just going off his old reputation, and at that point
Right.
he wasn't what he was, right?
Right.
And even if what he was, maybe even back when he was a tough guy when he was younger, maybe he wouldn't have been as tough as Dan Spivey, because Dan Spivey's a bigger dude. Who knows, right? So
remember when they settled the fucking Dan Spivey with that Waylon Mercy gimmick?
yeah.
Oh, that was rough. That was rough to watch.
Have y'all ever watched Dan Spivey versus Sting from All Japan in June of '89?
I've never. No.
It's on the undercard of the show where Tenryu won the Triple Crown from Jumbo Tsuruta.
Mm.
It's not great, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I may have seen parts of it, but I can't remember it.
The only older match I saw this week was I saw the G1 final of the Nakamura and Okada.
Oh, okay.
That was pretty good.
The G1 started today, didn't it?
No,
I'm looking at the results right now.
Yeah, today. Yeah. Ospreay lost.
Yeah, you want
it started today or tonight? It starts.
No, it was last night because.
Oh, okay.
Because I had him on my prediction and he lost. Yeah. Taichi won. Who figured?
Taichi won? Oh shit!
Yeah.
Check this out. So Yoshihashi defeated El Phantasmo LP. Chase Owens defeated Gabe Kidd. I don't know about that decision just because there's not much stuff. There's not much potential in Chase Owens going for it. Tonga Loa defeated Kenta.
I thought Kenta would win.
Ren Narita and Shota Umino went to a 20-minute time limit draw. Okada defeated Great Okan. Kiyomiya defeated Yota Tsuji. Taichi defeated Will Ospreay, and Sanada defeated Hikuleu in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I picked up points on. I'd pick Sonata and the kid from Noah. What's his name?
Kiyomiya.
I picked him.
I picked Kenta.
And then I lost on. I believe I picked Gabe Kidd. I thought he might win that, and I picked Ospreay, and he didn't. So I only picked.
Yeah, I picked Ospreay too.
I gotta see what I chose. What I've been doing, I do the thing that Zeus had taught us. I just choose one or two matches, and that's all I
if you can find a sure thing.
Yeah. It's hard. I try to stay away from the 8-man tags, but they have so many 8-man tags in the prediction.
You know? Not right now.
Yeah, over the land.
Not right now. Yeah.
That's 6-man, 8-man, 10-man. You figure who the winner is.
The time periods where they had like just the exact same matches, multi-man matches happening over and over again was rough. Like fuck.
Yeah, definitely a bruh moment.
Let's see.
I saw SmackDown last night. It wasn't bad. It was pretty good.
Oh yeah, tell us about it. I don't know anything about it.
They had Jimmy Uso do the stretcher job out of the Garden. So they mentioned last night that he was out indefinitely. So that just clears the way for Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso singles push, And now they're saying, he could possibly win the, he could be Universal Champion, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know about putting the belt on Jey Uso. I don't think that would be good, personally.
Zeus, I chose Sonata and Ospreay, so I only got points for Sonata.
Yeah.
So
I don't think Uso. I don't think the Usos are the ones who should take the belt off Roman.
No.
I don't know who is, but But who
I
knows?
thought
It
he was
won't
going to
matter
pull the
now.
trigger. Should have been Sami Zayn because they had it, you know.
And then didn't Raw have some ridiculous numbers this past week?
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. It was all right. I mean, I watched it. It was okay.
SmackDown had huge numbers last week, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that shitty garden show. Yeah.
It just goes to show you that it's not the matches, it's the story.
Yeah, it's the story. It's the story. And now we're starting to get interesting on SmackDown too. Is that now it's a triangle. Because you got Oscar, who's the champ. You got Belair and Flair, and now Io Shirai sticking her nose in with the briefcase. So it's kind of getting interesting there, you know.
Oh,
yeah,
hey,
but again, it goes to show you it's all about the story. Because it is, because there were only 4 matches on SmackDown last night. So it's all about the story. And the biggest pop of the night came from LA Knight, who was only out there for like 30 seconds. He cut a promo and left.
Hey, did Pedro, did you see Utami's going to go to the Performance Center?
Yeah,
EO?
So she see, she's been doing those GCW shows, and she did a GCW show last weekend and a JCW show last weekend, and then she did another GCW show last night. And then in between, she had a training session with Natalia, where Io Shirai was also there, amongst others. And then she was at NXT. She was at the tapings, backstage at the NXT tapings on Tuesday or whatever it was, tapings or broadcasts, whatever. And supposedly she's going to be making a stop at the Performance Center at some point. The discourse with the U.S. Joshi fans has been hilarious about this whole deal. When the pictures and video came out of her training with Natalia and all of them, people were like offended. They were not the Japanese Joshi fans, okay? The U.S. Joshi fans, the ones in the Western realm. They were offended. They're like, Natty sucks. She can't teach her anything. She can't even touch Tommy. Like, what could she show her? They're gonna WWE-ize her. This is gonna be terrible. This and this. And I was thinking, like, you're telling me the wrestlers learn from anyone. Like, they can, like, we know that all the wrestlers will like train with each other in various things. Y'all have seen those pictures from the Gracie dojo? You'll have like wrestlers from all over the world like training together, doing the Gracie stuff. They can learn anything. You're telling me that they can't learn anything from Natty Neidhart? Like they think
Natty's been there so long. She can say, "Hey, look, this is what if you were to sign up with WWE, this is the kind of thing that we need you to do."
Yeah, but like
newsmaker in the house. What's up, Flu?
What? Really?
What? Yeah.
I don't see.
He said, "I think Joe should get Roman's belt 1, 2, 3 right in the middle of the ring."
No.
Pedro gives fucking Roman Reigns a guitar shot.
No. Fluz, welcome. I can't see you yet on the comments. It's not showing up.
I see him.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm in the StreamYard thing, so it's not showing up, so I can't highlight it. So
But I think Natty could wrestle just fine. It's just that she was, she's been WWE. That's what she does.
Natty is a very good wrestler.
She's very
good. She know, like, a lot of these wrestlers know a lot of stuff that they're not doing, like, out there. Like, you're telling me someone from the Hart family doesn't know this stuff inside and out? Like, they can't teach people stuff? Like,
come on. I mean,
and like all these people, and look, Utami is pretty good mechanically, right? But she's not good in terms of like creating a match. Like, she needs to be led to matches. She can't really lead a match on her own. So get training with a gazillion people is good for her, in my opinion. And if she ends up going to the WWE or this or that, what's the big deal? It doesn't matter anyways. Like it's all, you know.
It doesn't matter, right, Pedro?
It just does matter.
Just doesn't matter.
Pedro
man.
got MWD, modern wrestling disease.
Oh, okay. I had to go to the YouTube thing to see it. The comments aren't showing up on the StreamYard.
No,
I think Drew. No flus. I should never get Roman's belts.
especially the ugly gold one.
Oh my god. It's so good to see you though, flus.
Yeah, Fluid, been a long time, buddy.
Blues.
So
I mean, you know, like WWE was all right. You know, like SmackDown was all right. Know who's integrated seamlessly from NXT to the main roster?
who?
I mean, and without missing a beat. Fucking Pretty Deadly.
Oh yeah. You know, I'm not surprised at all, James.
Without missing a beat. They are so good, Pedro. They really are that good.
From NXT UK to NXT to the main roster, they're like there's something about them you could tell that they were ready for the main roster in NXT UK in a way, like already.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just different from the rest of that roster. Like, you know, a lot of that roster was so steeped in the whole sort of British chain wrestling kind of thing. And they were like more like a regular wrestling product, you know, sort of. Like you could just see like, oh, they're just ready to be like in a more mainstream thing like already. So
I'm digging them.
I got a question for you, James, because I haven't seen this segment. I just heard about this. Shotzi Blackheart shaved her head?
Yeah, but what happened was a week before, she confronted Bailey and Io because there was like an interference in Shotzi's match before that, and they beat the shit out of Shotzi and suplexed her on the table backstage, and they had Bailey cut off a piece of her hair, and you know she's been waving around their hair in promos. So they had a segment where Shotzi appeared on the main screen during Bailey's match, and she was like, "You don't control me, I control me." And you think you hurt me by cutting off my hair? No, I cut my hair, and she took a clippers and shaved off half her head.
Oh,
so I was like, okay, they're finally doing something with Shotzi, which is good, because I don't want to see her keep jobbing everybody. So that's good. Because I always thought Shotzi in NXT was amazing. And Shotzi in the main roster so far has been ho-hum. So I'm glad they're finally doing something with her, you know?
Shotzi's interesting because she got a great look. She's a beautiful looking woman. Mm-hmm. She's got a great look and all that.
She's got personality too. She's got personality.
She has charisma, but now while she has charisma, has she ever really had a character outside of other than she's a sort of a horror movie loving tattoo alternate girl?
Yeah, I don't know, but she, I think that's always been her gimmick in one form or another. I agree because that's all she has. But she's got charisma, like you said, and she can work a crowd. And I think they should use that because having a job to fucking Emma is not working for me. Sorry.
Is Emma still around?
Yeah, she's with this idiot. Who's that big muscle bound guy? The
I don't know.
Was hanging around with talking about the other idiot who plays the guitar.
Oh, Elias?
Yeah.
She's with Elias?
No. She's with the guy who used to hang out with Elias all the time.
Wait, no. I don't know.
Rick Boogs?
Oh, he used to hang out with Nakamura.
No, so it's not. It's some idiot who used to hang out with Elias. He's an idiot. He sucks. But
I
anyway,
thought-
there are a couple in real life, so she's hanging out with him in real life too. So
okay. Well.
she had to look more than a character, but barely ever had a chance to develop a character in the first place. I agree,
Yeah.
Flus. I agree.
Yeah,
But
that's true. Flus.
she had more of a character in NXT, so it's the writing, obviously, that either they have nothing for her or they just don't know what to do with her.
Okay, James, I'm going to counter what you said with this. She had more of a character, they had more things for her to do in NXT, like more direction for her.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is more accurate about.
Yeah, and like the thing. I mean, because they were able to use the tank, her tank as part of the story, and.
Mm-hmm.
Flu said Emma's with Madcap. Okay.
Madcap, that's his name. Yeah, that fucking geek.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Madcap Moss, that's his name, right?
Any other wrestling you saw this week, James? Like from anywhere?
No, I didn't watch AEW, Pedro.
What? Aww.
Although I attempted to watch Battle of the Belts tonight at the Collision because I want to see Ty beat the shit out of Tony Storm. But other than that, no.
Wait, so Taya's challenging Tony Storm, the Taya that has lost to Jade twice for the secondary title.
Yeah,
is challenging Tony Storm. Oh, I wonder who will win.
Is this supposed to be like the Battle of the Belts or whatever they call that shit tonight at the Collision?
Flu said.
Isn't Justin Isn't Liger going to be on Collision tonight?
Oh yeah. What about that, Zeus? Liger being on AEW Collision.
That's going to ruffle your feathers, Zeus.
I mean, like I said, he's probably either commentating or presenting the belt, or because they'll probably show some of the New Japan footage of Owen versus Liger.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just,
I'll be upset if he does any moves or anything, but I don't
Thoughts
think he will.
on the LA Knight is a Rock ripoff meme, Flus. You know what? Everybody copies everybody these days. I mean, he's this. You want to call him a Rock ripoff? You want to say he's Austin? You want to say he's Cena? That's fine. He's over. The man paid his dues. I hope he gets paid. Good for him.
The Rock took a lot of stuff from other wrestlers too.
Yeah, he took shit from everybody.
Everyone
everybody steals from everybody.
He took the Rudy Poo stuff from.
He took Jabroni from Iron Sheik.
Iceman Parsons and.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Iceman Parsons. He stole from Iron Sheik. He stole Jabroni from Iron Sheik. Yeah, he's everybody steals from everybody.
Wrestlers have been stealing. It's not a new, like you said, these days they've been doing it always.
Yeah. I mean, goddamn, how many Nature Boys have we had? 6?
Well, good ones or
fair enough.
Brian Bell is here. He says, "I'm here for all the AEW love." Oh,
be Brian Bell. Yeah, all down. With Taya Valkyrie versus Tony Storm at Battle of the Belts. Yeah, aren't you excited, Brian?
I did watch I watched the Mil Mascaras against Mass Superstar. That was
okay.
Yeah, that was interesting. I never knew they wrestled each other. I was enthralled. It was kind of. What
time was that on, Zeus?
That was from like 84, 83, All Japan.
Nice.
We put the link. Zeus put the link to. Someone had like the whole match on Twitter, and then I found the match on YouTube and put it in the chat.
Cool.
But I'll find it again and post it.
Okay.
James.
Good. But everybody steals from everybody else. So you know what? I'm happy for LA Knight. I mean, I didn't like Eli Drake in TNA because I thought he ate one. I loved him in NWA Power. And I loved him in NXT. I hated when he first got brought up as that stupid Max Dupree. But now, you know what? Good for him. Good for him.
Azusa, so you said the match was pretty good?
Yeah, it's not great or earth shattering or anything, but I mean, you can tell that they were. I mean, I felt like that they were, they're trying to work out kind of a basic match, and what they knew of each other, and probably had a little bit of a language barrier at the same time. So
was it 4 3/4 stars like
No,
FTR versus Jay White and
it
Juice
was
Robinson?
Yeah.
No?
That you're telling me that match was as good as the Midnight Express against the Southern Boys. Yeah. I don't fucking think so.
Hey, what about this one? Chris Jericho, 2023 Chris Jericho versus Commander, the guy who keeps leaping on the ropes constantly, endlessly. Meltzer gave it 4 stars.
He's just the Oprah of stars now. It just you get a star and you get a star and you get 4 stars. And
what would he give Flair Steamboat then? Like come on.
There was
5 stars.
I don't know. Zeus, were you the one who showed us the thing where Meltzer was saying that the ratings would actually be lower now for the old stuff than what he gave it?
That's bullshit.
Yeah, if he went back and watched old wrestling, is what he'd say. He would have to mark down because they're it's not up to par with today's wrestling.
What?
Yeah.
Yes. Look, but I'm the Pedro disclaimer about Dave Meltzer. Keep in mind, he is preaching to an audience. He's telling this audience what he thinks they want to hear. Well, he knows they want to hear it because his business model is working for him. This audience wants to hear that what they're watching today is the best of all time, and he's
vastly
the one
superior to what we watched back in our day. No, I don't think so.
But that's his business model, is selling this to the people. He's giving them what they want. I mean, so it's just a business thing. Like, think of it like a politician. Okay, I'm not trying to bring politics into things, but think of it like a politician. A politician,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what side, this or that. Any single politician ever, anywhere on the planet, they say whatever to who they see as their base, right? To get their votes. That's it. They don't have to believe what they are saying. They don't have to believe or have any intention of delivering on what they're saying. All that matters is that they sell the perception of what they're selling to these people and hope that they're like doing the right thing to get enough votes for the game day, because it's all sports. So it's all a bunch of, BS.
B. Brian Bell says that he never been seen an Angle 5-star match. Angles has had ridiculous matches. 5-star matches don't draw as much money as 5-star promos. So look at that.
True. That's true.
That is true.
I'm scared to rewatch a lot of stuff when it comes to the last 20 years of wrestling. I have a feeling a lot of Kurt Angle stuff is not going to hold up well in a rewatch. That's my feeling. It's kind of like why I don't rewatch Lucha Underground and a bunch of other stuff, because I have a feeling it's not going to hold up.
I love rewatching Lucha Underground. I do the Lucha binge at least once a year. At least. It's awesome.
But talking about binging, you want to talk about binging wrestling? Last weekend, Tokyo Joshi Pro had some big show like Summer Sun Princess, and they got stupid names for their shows. Summer Sun Princess, some bullshit like that. And so people were raving and this about it. So I went on Sunday. I went to see if it was on Bilibili, because that's Bilibili usually gets all this stuff, but it wasn't. And then I noticed that like there's a trend; they weren't getting a lot of the Wrestle Universe stuff. They're getting it a little later. Like I guess they're cracking down on Bilibili a little bit. And then I heard that the Wrestle Universe had a free 1-week trial. You could get a free trial thing on Wrestle Universe. So I got a free 1 week trial at Wrestle Universe. And I watched a number of Tokyo Joshi Pro shows this week. I had planned to watch some Noah, but I couldn't find a show. I couldn't pick a specific show I wanted to watch from Noah because there was just a bunch of names I just don't care about. Like we've already seen all the Muto stuff from this year on there, so it was like, well, do I want to see these XYZ people I don't care about? Like have title matches for like 30-40 minutes, like not really. That was my feeling on it. Like so I ended up watching a lot of Tokyo Joshi Pro. Now in the past I've talked about Tokyo Joshi Pro on here, and I said they're like the worst Joshi promotion in Japan because the wrestling is the worst. The in-ring work is the worst. These girls, they're not really wrestlers. They're like idol singers. They're models. They're actresses, and they just, they can't really wrestle very, very well, right?
They're such the XYZ people.
The XYZ people, yes, that'd be a great tag team name.
XYZ versus ABC in the steel cage.
Yeah. So in the past I've watched a fair amount of it, but it's always like the big matches, right? And you watch a big match in isolation here and there, right? And so this was the first time I was like actually sitting down watching majority of the shows, not the entire shows, but like majority of the shows. And so watching this product in context of the whole thing, right? I kind of understood what they're doing a little bit better. So if you watch this promotion as pro wrestling, you're going to dislike it because they can't wrestle. They're up and down. The average is pretty bad on this promotion. They just can't wrestle. If you watch it as live action, like a theater stage version of anime, it's different because that's what they're doing. They're doing like kind of live theater anime. Their matches are all built around like the girls. They only really trained them to do maybe 2 or 3 things well, right? The rest of it is they just kind of wing it. And the main thing is that they strike these sort of anime poses. You think of a fighting anime where, you know how they'll have like a big fight and there'll be moments where they're like, they're having a little pose off with each other and like their fighting auras are building up and stuff like that. That's basically what their matches are like. It's like this live action theater version of anime. And even the cinematography, the right word to use, I don't know. The production is all geared around this. They have the lighting, the this and that, just ready to go for these camera shots where you're like, oh, it's like cinematic live action anime moments. So watching it, I was like, oh, this is what this promotion is. It's just like a stage version of anime. So I understood it a little better. Where in the past I'd watch the matches, I'd be like, oh, this sucks. Like these girls are terrible. They can't bump, they can't do this, they can't do that, they can't do it. They can't do moves. But watching it like this and more in the context of the whole thing, I was like, oh, it's not wrestling, but it's just like an anime about wrestling, like a stage version of an anime about wrestling is what this promotion is. So, yeah, I to me, it was interesting. It wasn't good, but it was interesting. There were some things that drove me like up the wall at points, but I mean, I had to keep in mind like what I was watching. Like,
yeah. Well, I found something interesting too on Tuesday. I was watching NXT, and the Judgment Day was there. So they had Trick Mello was in the ring with Damian Priest and Finn Balor. And that was the main event NXT on Tuesday. And, it was a pretty good match. It wasn't spectacular, but it was decent. But how they made Mello look strong, that it took all 4 Judgment Day to beat them 2. So I thought, I found that interesting how it's a, you know, they're really making Melo look strong, you know, like really strong as their champion because they're taking all 4 members of Judgment Day to beat Trick Melo. So I was like, okay, that's how you want to play this. You know, if you're going to have your number one faction on Monday nights, run Monday nights and then come down to NXT and it takes all 4 people to beat their champion. Okay. If you want to push your NXT champion that hard, I hear you.
Well, they probably realize too that, you know, most people that watch Raw and SmackDown, you know, I don't think most of them watch NXT.
NXT, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
divide is still going on.
I don't think things like that affect them, you know, like a you know, a hardcore wrestling fan.
Yeah. True.
Because, you know, there's so much of that, you know, we see in, you know, when call-ups happen. Oh, who's this person? I hate him. You know, go back to NXT and, you know, stuff like that. We see that a lot. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it takes a lot of time to get a lot of those main roster fans to accept.
I mean, they called up Cameron Grimes 2 months ago, and I still haven't seen him yet.
Yeah.
And I think he's had like 1 or 2 matches on TV at least. So I don't know.
Do you see much potential for Cameron Grimes on the main roster?
I mean, if you put him against people like Santos Escobar and stuff like that, I do, because he was the same way in NXT when he first got to NXT. We were like, why? And then all of a sudden, he got put in situations where it made sense for him. I mean, all those amazing ladder matches he had and stuff like that, he was fantastic. You know, so
amazing is a little hyperbole, but yeah.
No, Pedro, I had zero interest. I had zero interest in Cameron Grimes. I saw him ascend, and then to me, he was amazing in those ladder matches because he was doing a lot of shit.
What you and I said during those NXT takeovers and things, James, what the thing we kept saying was him. He was often the glue in those matches.
Yeah, he was.
He was the one who held the stuff together. But amazing is a little hyperbolic. But
during these days in 2023 modern
it's true. I mean, it is true. Like, you know, Zeus was saying about the Masked Superstar versus Mil Mascaras. If you watched like a week of Tokyo Joshi Pro and then you were to watch that, or Ric Flair versus Dusty Rhodes from 1985 or something, you might be like, "Oh my god, like this is incredible," you know, like. But you know what? I really want Zeus's.
Yeah,
star.
Brian, I agree. I agree, Brian. I agree. But you definitely had a little bit of sting with the $1 million fucking gimmick.
I really want to pick Zeus's brain on something though.
Okay.
Here we go.
So Zeus, Nick Bockwinkel, if he had gone to the WWF in the mid '80s, would it have worked? Could you have made it work through any kind of fantasy booking? And would he have gotten a gimmick? And if so, what would the gimmick have been?
I think Vince would have made him his Flair.
He might have, but at the same time, you know, he probably would have fancied him up a little bit. You know, Bockwinkel, you know, he was kind of, he wasn't as over the top as like Flair, you know, with his with his look and everything. He was very confident and cocky though, and he was really well spoken. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they might have made him either, you know, maybe a little bit more authoritarian, you know, something like that. Like he might have become like that first definitive King of the Ring, you know, that King title.
Oh,
you know?
That's good, Zeus. Yeah. Well, you know what, too? Because him and Hogan already had chemistry from the AWA days, so I think he could have been a nemesis for Hogan, like a really long, drawn out storyline.
And plus, with being with Heenan, they would have put him with Heenan. I think that would have really worked, and that could have changed everything prior to WrestleMania. Bockwinkel being there.
That's a good. I never thought of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, if he had become like the first king of the ring, that would have helped like elevate him. But it was really crowded, at the top in WWF at that time.
Yeah.
Flu said Vince would have made Nick the Professor Bockwinkel or something.
It's possible. It is possible that he could have been like a professor before,
Dean Douglas and the Genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine passing the laurels down to Dean Douglas.
Was it King of the Ring made for? Was that made for Harley Race?
I don't think he was the first King of the Ring.
No.
I can't remember for sure.
We can find out.
That was done to like recognize his Harley races, because he was like 7-time NWA World Champion and shit like that.
Brian Bell said he's heard a few times that Nick Bockwinkel was the first person pegged for the $1 Million Man gimmick, but he turned it down.
Oh, look at that! B. Brian Bell.
Don Morocco.
The Don Morocco was the first King of the Ring?
Yep. 1985.
How did I not know that?
1985. He beat the Iron Sheik in the final.
Sheik it, baby.
That must have been when Rock turned face.
Yeah. Don the Rock. Mm-hmm.
July 8th, 1985, Foxborough, Massachusetts.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I'm trying to picture Nick Bockwinkel as the $1 Million Man.
Yeah, so this wasn't even really, it wasn't really televised. It said the only other match that wasn't in the tournament that night was Hogan beat Nikolai Volkov.
Oh.
So, but that the thing is with those first few years with Hogan, we didn't really. I don't think we really knew how long he was going to, be champion. Yeah. I don't think if you'd have said in 1985 that he was going to hold on to the belt, for the next 3 years, I think you would have been like, I think he loses it before then,
Yeah.
Shout out to Aloe Wolfie in the chat.
Hey, Aloe Wolfie.
I always wondered what happened if Morocco beat Hogan for the belt. It would have been nice to have a heel WWF champion, and then all the baby faces chasing him. Then you really could have a nice Slicker Morocco showdown.
Man, Morocco with the Intercontinental title was great, I thought.
Yeah.
And the whole feud with Snuka, of course, that was great.
And the feud with Backlund, the feud with Santana.
He was great in Mid-Atlantic.
Yes, he was. Mm-hmm.
I mean, he came in. Everybody knew who the hell he was. But there was a lot more movement before. You could go and some of these guys could be in WWF and part of '83, leave, come back same years like nothing, they just didn't talk about the time you were gone. It's just, there you are again. Here they are,
Like Barry Windham. He was a U.S.
No. They completely changed him every time.
Love came back as the Widowmaker. I was like, what the hell are you doing? he was a tag team champion.
The Stalker, and then
I forgot about the Stalker, Zeus. Oh, the Stalker, that's right.
It's just one of the worst gimmicks.
I thought the new Blackjacks was bad, but nope. I stand corrected. It was the Stalker. Yes, I completely erased that.
The crazy thing was that about the Blackjacks is how much Barry looked like Blackjack, like that. You know, he had just the mustache and the black hair and you know and all that stuff. I was like, man,
yeah, especially when he started gaining a little weight too. Yeah.
You know, but
I still hold on to my belief. I fucking said it back then, and I'll say it again now. Barry Windham should have never been a horseman. Barry Windham was the best opponent for this player.
This is part of the thing with you know post Magnum being hurt. This is part of the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and especially with, like I said, that the whole thing with the UWF merger, you know, that like I said, that's just that was an unnecessary waste of money because
it was going under anyway.
Right, it was going under anyway. Plus, then you have to, you know, you were having to give credibility to Dr. Death as another world champion.
Yeah,
and that. You know, we never got the showdown because, you know, they couldn't come to an agreement. That was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, with you know, and then you know the thing with Ronnie Garvin didn't go over well.
Nope, I hated that.
There was just some, you know, there's some bad decisions that kind of led. You know, to bringing up, you know, Sting and Luger because the crowd were so nuts for them, you know, and they were emerging as the top stars, and I'm sure WCW felt like they needed to invest and push them, you know, push the hot hand, and so you know Barry was just, you know, he was part of their group, but he was still the older guy, you know. He was still older.
Yeah, that's because he was so young back in the day, and you know, like you know, like he was part of that old school Florida Championship Wrestling, Georgia, Mid Atlantic, you know. So everybody grew up with him, you know.
Right, and you know, I mean, he just, you know, because of you know how things happened, you know, they. And just, you know, the stuff that happened with Nikita where he left and came back. And, you know, I mean, thankfully, you know.
Where did Nikita go? You went to the AWA, right?
He briefly just kind of left in general. I mean, you know, his wife, Mandy, was.
That's right. His wife was sick, yeah.
So, you know, there's so many things that, you know, it's not just one thing, but it definitely, yeah, I definitely feel like that there was a big downturn started after the passing of, I mean, after the injury to Magnum.
Yeah, the stalker, Barry Windham, that was horrible. What a fucking gimmick.
But, you know, every time I talk about, you know, if Crockett and Fritz had joined forces instead of breaking apart, you know, yeah, people might have said, "Oh man, well, you know, Kerry won the world title 3 times after that, and Kevin won it once." It's like, would that have been so bad?
It would have been interesting if Gino Hernandez had still lived, and that whole merger would have happened.
If Gino had lived, you know, I mean, there was so much that happened. You know, it could have gone better.
But no, we get 9.5-star matches from Kenny Omega. So,
but I mean, look at some of the other dumbass things that they did. Like, you know, I mean, they broke up the Midnight Express because they didn't think that
was awesome. I love the Midnight Express.
That you know, they didn't think it was worth keeping Stan and Jim Cornette around. I mean, that was stupid. That was really stupid.
But they're so toxic.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
what was their excuse again? What they wanted to give Ricky Morton a run, right? What was the excuse they told us? Oh, he was the run for the title shot and
them
bullshit.
Just saying y'all are making too much money.
I think that's the real
this
reason.
is your
Yeah.
new contract offer, and Bobby is like going, well, I kind of need this job.
Yeah.
You know,
AKA the Road Warriors all over again. Yeah. The Road Warriors. Here's the
But
contract.
I mean, they tried to lowball. They tried to lowball Arn and Tully too,
Yeah.
which is insane. Like
Well,
you look back on that now, it's like you tried to lowball those guys, and then they really didn't even get treated that well in WWF.
they got treated like shit in WWF.
I mean, not.
Well,
I don't know about being treated like shit, but they certainly weren't. I mean, well, once again, according to
When
Arn,
you job in the Brutus Beefcake, yeah. Come on.
well, but they did beat Demolition for the tag titles.
Yeah,
they
did.
that really good
yeah,
match.
they had that. They had the great feud with the Rockers. They had the
Yeah.
I mean, they broke up Strike Force
right.
at
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
my God,
I mean, that was
Strike Force.
huge.
Fucking Tito Santana and Rick Martel.
So
Brian
you know,
Bell
they
said
were-
historically, promoters have not been a fan of top tier tag teams due to the investment a time segment takes. I imagine Midnight Express was probably a pretty expensive investment for 15, 20 minutes. I don't know.
look, you had they were money though. I mean, that's the thing is when they were heels, everybody wanted to see him get the shit kicked out of them.
Yep.
You know, now of course there was a huge segment of fans that loved the Midnight Express even as heels.
Like me.
And
I love when they beat the shit out of Cock and Bull.
Over half of Greensboro loved the Midnight Express
Yeah.
as heels.
James,
What?
I love when they beat the hell out of Cock and Balls. This couldn't be taken wrong in any kind of way.
Right? That's a completely different genre.
Yeah, but they deserve to get their ass kicked. I couldn't stand the Rock and Roll. I mean, I still can't even say the name. The Rock and Roll Express. They're fucking cock and balls. I can't stand them. Can't stand them.
And you know, and here's another thing too is like, look at the Fantastics. The Fantastics should have been treated as good as the Rock and Roll.
I think the Fantastics got the short end of the stick, in my opinion. Because I think they could have gotten
they
so much more better.
They had some good runs. They had some good runs, but there was just it was just a big influx of shit happening in '88 and '89. I mean, the Fantastics left and came back. Most people didn't even notice, but they went. They went to World Class and won the World Class Tag Team titles twice.
Brian Bell said you have to invest 3 times the cost instead of 1. Did they move the needle enough on ratings compared to bringing in top singles wrestler? I'm talking business.
Excuse me? Yes, absolutely. That's dude. They riled up crowds like no tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Crockett had been a heavy tag team based promotion for 40 years. So it's just they just got cheap on everybody. They just,
Yeah.
Fucking Cornette.
They got cheap on the wrong people. I mean, Bischoff spent a lot of time dismantling a lot of tag teams. But what good did that do? None.
The demise of tag team wrestling just in general has been kind of a sad thing from the late 90s onward. But
wow, yeah. And they broke up the greatest team of all time, too. Fucking Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. How could they? They were the goats.
The goats.
Better than the Road Warriors. Blues. Mr. Bell is correct as a rule of thumb that there was more of a profit to be made with a single in the main event.
Well, there's always going to be a single in the main event, almost always.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way wrestling works. Is the world heavyweight title is the most important title. That's going to be the main event. However, what was the main event of Starrcade 1986? It's the Night of the Skywalkers. It was the
the
Scrapple
Skywalker.
match.
Mm-hmm.
Midnight
The
Express
Scrapple
and the
match.
Road Warriors. It was a bigger feud than Nikita and Ric Flair.
But did it get 4.75 stars?
Did he get 4.75 stars, Zeus? Come on.
5 stars.
It got 14.5 stars. And they lost half a star and Cormier broke his ankle.
Yeah. Star this.
Yeah, right. I can't with Meltzer in that star system. I just can't do it. I can't.
It's just all fan service.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like what Pedro said. He built a thing, and that's it.
Yeah, as far as
it clearly means nothing.
Right. I mean, because it's all subjective anyway. Your best match is not my best match. Is not his best match.
So unfortunately, I read a lot of. I don't watch a lot, but I read a lot of the modern wrestling discourse around the internet. Right.
Pedro's going to throw up now.
No, but I'm just saying I read what fans are saying, right? Like on forums, on Twitter, on this and that, social media, blah, blah, blah. I read what they're saying. And so I see a lot of stuff. And so I see what sort of the general attitudes that these fans online have. I say, you got to say fans online because it's just a small niche of the overall people watching stuff. But, I mean, they will quote his star ratings like as if you're quoting who won the Super Bowl in 1985. Like sports results. They'll quote his star ratings like you're quoting sports results. For them, it's a statement.
That's fact. That's fact. Right.
And it's just that audience, that specific audience. So. Other people are, of course, have more nuanced takes on it, but we need some more things to throw at Zeus. Give him some fantasy booking things to throw at him, amigos.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Zeus, you got anything you want to just riff off on your own, fantasy booking wise?
I'll be interested to see how Zeus booked Rhea Ripley.
So, see, I got no clue because I don't know her personality. I don't know anything about. But if Magnum, if Fritz and Crockett had started working together, and you sent Magnum TA to World Class, and you get Kerry in return, and you got him there for 6 months, and you definitely going to want to have like the Freebirds kicking the shit out of Kevin, and then Magnum hits the ring and clears the ring, and then you have a main event Freebirds against Magnum TA and Kevin Von Erich, and that
sounds like an awesome fucking tag team right there.
I mean that would be like to have those two against the most hated guys in World Class in the Sportatorium. I mean, that place would be electric. And then you have
Adams and Hernandez versus fucking them two. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would have worked. That would have worked super well too. Eventually you're going to have to work a big main event, and I don't remember who the American champion was at the time, but you're definitely going to want Magnum and Kevin to go over the Freebirds, and then Magnum challenge for the American title.
Yeah.
and then he could win that, lose it back. Like he could have lost it back to like Michael Hayes or like you said, Gino or Chris Adams, something like that. Get cheated on a loser leaves town, and then
That would
him
have been cool.
to Crockett.
I would like to see the one-on-one with Hayes and Hayes and Magnum would have been cool too. Out of that tag team match,
Yeah, something like that in Texas, where
Really?
Hayes got clowned a little bit in Crockett at times. I feel like that he wasn't, portrayed as strong as he was in some places. The Freebirds had their runs, but it was kind of up and down. And like some of that, like the early '90s stuff, like
obviously they were huge and world class. But do you think that Georgia run was good?
Oh yeah. I mean that's early. I mean that's
yeah.
They were there several times though. So I mean, if you look at their accomplishments, they won, national and Georgia tag team titles several times. So they were definitely a success. I think the Freebirds were really a success pretty much everywhere they went except for the WWF.
Yeah, well, that's what Vince wanted to break them up, remember? And they were like, nope, we're out.
Or whatever it was. They didn't stay long.
Yeah.
But I mean,
they came in as baby faces too, which is weird.
Yeah, it was yeah. Once again, the guy from the South that owns the company doesn't know how to put Southern wrestling. Like, I went to the same university as Vince McMahon.
Yeah, he had no clue.
That's why when people say like, what would have happened with Magnum in WWF, and they would have really had to like just kind of almost reprogram him and make him kind of their own if they could, because they just they would have had to call him something else, because they couldn't stand it. It's just like Mr. Perfect,
Yeah.
He was fine as Kurt Hennig, but they had to call him Mr. Perfect. So, whatever they would have done with Magnum, it might have worked, it might not have. But
I would like to think that Magnum would have got over in WWF, because he had just too much charisma.
If he was just like, he might have needed to be that all-American hero to get over there, Yeah. If Magnum had gone to WWF in the mid '80s, I think putting him with Hacksaw Duggan, and then them waving the flag and all the way around. I think that would have been maybe the way to get him a part of the WWE, over culture. He would have been good to start out as a like a flag waving biker guy. But so Brian Bell asks, he's asking me who I think the best booker of all time is and who's my favorite.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. And, that there's a lot of people that kind of, we saw, like a lot of people's personality were imprinted on their booking, especially like in the 90s. And a lot of people talk about Dusty and his booking, and some people are, well, he ran, he promoted himself first, but, he was the biggest star, he was the biggest face, for a lot of that time. And it's hard to argue with that success. So did he overstay his welcome at the top? Probably. Booking himself at the top.
Well, let me ask you a question on that then. Just as a booker, Not as an owner, but as a booker. What do you think of Heyman?
Well, so you mean in ECW?
Mm-hmm.
So I think he was able to do really well with what he had. And then, being constantly pilfered by WCW and WWF, because he's showcasing these guys in their best light, and then they were just getting, picked off, here and there. And, not having a crap ton of money like everybody else did, I think he did pretty well, because he knew he had to push the envelope. He knew he had to be what the other ones weren't, and he had the kind of people to do it. So I think that really good job overall, I think, for Heyman. I'm trying to think of some of the things that I would have done. I think at some point that Rob probably should have won the world heavyweight title, but by the time he was kind of ready, he didn't really want it, because that belt was ugly to him.
Yeah.
He liked the TV title better, which most people do because it was a better looking belt. And he was really happy with that TV title reign. He was getting the main events. And so that might have been a little bit of a mistake by not elevating him to the world title and maybe redesigning that belt to something that Rob would have liked to have had.
That would have been a good idea, Zeus. That's actually a good idea. Yeah. Have him redesign the belt and more of a RVD style type of belt. And
because it was ugly. It
was piece of shit.
Well, it wasn't that. It's just that
it was Kaka Zeus. Even I didn't own that version. Even I skipped over that. I'm like, no thank you.
Yeah, but the things that made it ugly, I want to say it was like the blood and that font.
Yeah,
I didn't care for. I think that was part of the problem. It really kind of the basic design of it was fine.
I like to think Bill Watts had some good moments, especially with JYD and with Hacksaw and fucking DiBiase. I like to think Fritz has some moments,
Yeah, but different people were booking for Fritz.
That's true. True.
Gary Hart was booking.
Yeah.
And Gary Hart, he's great at so many things. The Crockett's, the Crockett's booked really well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I have a favorite booker per se. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the ECW World Title. Like the shape of it is the faceplate is got an okay shape.
Yeah,
but it's like the words heavyweight and wrestling that look like they were written in blood, and it's dripping blood, and there's a pool of blood, and it's just so busy and ugly, and it's like I don't even know how to describe some of these shapes that are in there. It's almost like 3 strips of damn Scotch tape on each side that angle toward the center.
Pure pee-pee caca.
The world is covered in barbed wire.
Yeah,
you got fence and barbed wire and 2 baseball bats crossed and ribbons with hex nut.
Yeah, it was way too busy. Yeah,
it's just
For some reason, y'all are making me think about did any of y'all ever get the ECW magazine they had for a while?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I got some of those because I was just when you're describing the belt, I could see it like the pictures from that magazine.
Yeah.
Because they had these garish photos of it and stuff.
Well, I don't know about the best booker or the favorite booker, but I can tell you who my worst bookers are. But Kevin Nash, horrible. And how about Shawn Michaels in NXT? Horrible job.
I was going to say
Horrible job.
definitely, Russo.
Well, that goes without saying. He's the bottom of the barrel.
He was terrible.
He's horrible.
I can't believe there's a cocaine person not being mentioned, but okay.
Cocaine Con? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
when he booked Okada. I mean, I should say Cocaine Con is because he booked Okada tapping out, which I'm still not happy about. But okay. But okay, fine.
But so like for like Giant Baba, of course, he was real respectful. I think he booked intense feuds. And he worked with a core group that was very faithful to him, and it worked very well. All the way up until his passing. It was not. It kind of became a place unto itself. Like you never saw like the All Japan champions, outside of Japan.
Right.
They were not as open to the West like New Japan.
Well, Baba did send the people out on excursions when they're young, but yeah, that was just when they were young and being seasoned.
Yeah, I mean they never made those deals like New Japan did with WCW and
right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean even before the deal with WCW, New Japan had a working agreement with WWF.
Yeah.
And before Vince,
because before Vince, you used to get a lot of Fujinami. Was a lot, like he would come back and forth.
Fujinami, the first Tiger Mask, even Inoki came to the States a few times. So, and then we did see Sayama and Baba in the first two Crockett Cups, but that's pretty limited.
I agree with both Flus and Brian Bell. Because Brian Bell says Eddie Graham and Bill Dundee, but both creatively are underrated. Absolutely. And Flu says if a book is judged by the business they drew, then it has to go to Vince. Yeah. I agree with both those statements. I thought Eddie Graham was a good booker. I mean, he had personal demons, but I thought he was a good booker.
Eddie Graham was, the Florida territory was red hot for a long time.
Yeah, it was hot. Yeah.
If Bill Dundee was the one that was in charge of a lot of that Memphis stuff, then definitely he deserves a lot of credit there because Memphis was hot. I mean, you could be Jerry Lawler was the world heavyweight champion of Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that was there, all those fans, they felt like that Lawler was the world champion, even though it wasn't like one of the big world champions, but it because they were packing in 14,000 people into Memphis every week.
I like I like the categories Vince McMahon in the 80s as a ruthless visionary. Because he went to your territory, he offered money, and if you said no, you said, fuck you, I'm taking your talent anyway now.
Well, and like I said, I mean, pro wrestling was run like the mob.
Right.
For a long time. I mean, if you have these other the territories were able to kind of to help each other out, and the world champion traveling, among them was a huge point, and it kind of really didn't matter, who booked that, but like when Ric Flair, Harley Race, or Jack Briscoe, or whoever it was that came to town, you knew it was going to be a great match.
Yeah.
And
the only thing I would say to that, Zeus, is when they did finally get together, to like really try to take down Vince, they couldn't agree on anything, and like all they did was try to backstab each other at the end. Like, imagine if they could have gotten together cohesively as a cohesive unit and really went after Vince. I mean, it would have been a different story.
Well, it's not that, see, because Vince had the idea that he was going to turn it into more show business, right? That's what he wanted. He wanted a bigger show. He didn't want it wrestling as much. I mean, he said several times, if I could take the wrestling out of pro wrestling, I would do it.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can't. But the thing is, if people had just kept doing what they were doing, because a lot of people knew, and a lot of people looked, fans were like, oh, well, WWF's that circus stuff. It's that, it's a lot more fakey. All these guys are, these, if they'd have been able to not go against them, just keep doing what they were doing, raw wrestling, and just,
it could have been a viable alternative.
Right. I mean, they could, it would have, that was the thing is, why I say that, Crockett and World Class working together would have been
right.
Would have been a better idea. And then, and if they were, if like in theory, if you could have kept the territories going, if you could have still had Florida and, and like say the Pacific Northwest, if you could have kept them going, by rotating talent, up and down, and moving those pieces around, that would have been that could have been good too. Plus the relationship in Puerto Rico, ended. They stopped.
Yeah,
they stopped working with WWC.
Yeah.
And so it's just, there's just so much that just kind of, broke down, and, with that economy, with everybody that, was hoping to get big money from either Crockett or, especially Vince, but, at the same time, there's guys that, that got Terry Taylored, they got Red Roostered,
Yeah.
I mean, even Dino Bravo wasn't thrilled with the blonde look and the, some of that stuff that he did there. So,
that's PCO.
I didn't notice the time. We're running late. Wanted to throw something out there really fast. Dave Meltzer was talking about Jon Moxley, and he said, of all the guys, he is the most Terry Funk of anyone in wrestling right now. Terry Funk and Dusty Rhodes bled like crazy week in and week out. That's what they did. So Jon Moxley as Terry, the modern day Terry.
I don't even know where to go with that, Pedro. I don't even know what to say. Like, really?
Yeah. No.
I mean, you just stopped the whole flow of the conversation. We were like, what? Wait, what? It just don't know what to say to that.
That's a lot to digest right there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more to this, actually. I didn't read the rest of this. Holy shit. So Meltzer said he looks at it as if it was real. And if it was real, like in an MMA card, there's a bunch of people bleeding every single MMA card. So in his mind, it's like that's what happens in a real fight. I mean, Abdullah the Butcher bled a lot. Terry Funk bled a lot. Of all the guys, Moxley is the most Terry Funk of anyone in wrestling right now. Terry Funk and Dusty Rhodes bled like crazy week in and week out. That's what they did. So John Moxley is the person keeping realism alive in modern day wrestling. Just in case you didn't know.
I fucking Meltzer. Why?
I mean, Flair bled a lot.
Yeah.
Terry Funk, I don't believe he's not. I don't think he bled quite as much as people talk about. I mean, he that the deathmatch stuff he did.
He did bleed a lot in Japan against certain opponents.
Yeah,
but it wasn't against Japanese opponents, but yeah, against certain.
I mean, he put his body on the line more than like I could count, but I don't know about bleeding a lot.
There is a contextual thing that is being ignored.
I'm still trying to get over the fact that he compared Terry Funk to fucking John Moxley.
John Moxley to Terry Funk.
Terry Funk, yeah.
There's context that's being lost here. So let's say Terry Funk and Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and blah, blah, blah bled every week, right? They're bleeding every week in front of a different audience.
Right.
They're not doing it on TV every week to the exact same audience, which is what John Moxley is doing, bleeding every single week to the exact same people.
Yeah.
And fucking Moxley even parodied himself, and even parodied, and he even parodied himself by making the ref bleed in one match.
And again, if he is going for realism, why is his work so sloppy? Why does it look so bad? Why are his punches so soft? Why is like everything look just so terrible? It's like so not snug, so just loose and sloppy and cartoony.
You're no good.
So yeah, it's just whatever. Anyways, James,
to be somebody else, man. It's just like you don't have to justify, why you like somebody by comparing them to somebody fucking else.
Yeah.
That's another problem. It's like just be the fuck who you are, man. Stop the cosplaying. Stop the homage. Stop it. Just stop.
Cock and balls suck. I always say, be who you are.
Don't be the Rock and Roll Express. Be who you are.
Don't be the Rock and Roll Express. Cock and balls suck.
Be XYZ.
Versus ABC, yeah.
Be the first you. Don't be the next somebody else.
Right, exactly.
Jesus.
So don't be cock and balls or cock and little peepee, because I was a brutal tag team too. Him and his son. That's hard.
James is James. I know you got a big surgery coming up this week, and we'll probably Wednesday. The show will probably be down for a good long while. I'm
gonna try not to. Because no, Pedro. To be all joking aside, and to be deadly serious here, I'm gonna look for the show to be like a lift me up. Because it's bad enough I'm going to be in pain, so I might as well bitch and moan about something. So it'll be cock and balls live.
No, we will not have cock and balls live.
No, I don't mean that. No, but yeah, you know what I mean. I'll bitch about the Rock and Roll Express. This way, give me something to. But I don't know about next week, but I'm gonna try my best.
No, I mean we should plan on not doing it next week. But
thanks, Brian. Thanks, Flus. Yeah, they're fucking around my ticker again.
Around.
Yeah.
I just want to say, James, we'll all be praying for you and thinking about you, and we all love you. So just
thank you, sir. I appreciate it, Pedro. I love you guys too. I love everybody listening. Brian, Bell, Flus, Maker, Oliver Wolf, everybody. It's just it's it's going to be fun times. I'm getting electrodes stuck in my heart, so it should be fun.
Like getting electrodes stuck in my heart.
B. Brian Bell goes, I'll pass. B. Brian Bell goes, I'll pass on the CMB show.
The cock and balls
show. I hate the rock and roll, Brian. I just hate the Rock and Roll Express. I can't stand them. I didn't want to see them 30 years ago. I didn't want to see them now. Jesus.
Zeus, you got anything coming up?
just plugging along, just doing what I do.
Yeah, man, that comic is coming out
Trying,
special.
trying to finish this comic book. So,
All right. Well, and I'll be doing my Twitch thing. Yeah.
which fake city you're going to this week?
Next week we're going into Minneapolis.
Oh man!
Yeah, you picked some shitty towns to go to, Pedro. I'm just gonna tell you.
Yeah, but Zeus, there's a musical reason why we're going to Minneapolis. I mean, if you
He's
saw
gonna play live from Vern Gagne's barn.
Right.
if you saw the graphic, it has a specific color. It's a specific monotone color, and it's got rain. So I just let you fill in the blanks. Minneapolis, a specific color and rain. So
purple people eaters.
Yeah, possibly, possibly. But
everyone we're gonna make you do a live learn of that that song.
Minneapolis. How about the Pedro live from Shanghai? But no Minneapolis.
Shanghai. Then I would like be learning Wu Bai songs and stuff. Be like,
say,
what the fuck is this?
Hey! Let me tell you something. If you do the show live from Shanghai, I'm gonna do the show live from the hospital. How about that? It's Markout Mania live from room 63, and oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Everyone, Flues, Brian Bell, Ala Wolfie, all of y'all, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, man. Everyone thanks for hanging out, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, have a great week and weeks ahead, and we'll see y'all when we see y'all next
time. Brian Bell. Thanks for the love. I appreciate it. Hopefully, I'll be back and ready to kick some arse.
Everyone, take care and adios.
Peace. Ooh. I'm gonna wake up looking like